Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy Farah, and welcome to the inaugural edition of a Wiser Medicine Conversation Series. And so I started Wiser Medicine because I really believe that there's a wiser way to do medicine. And I believe that a lot of that wisdom is what we have deep inside us, and there are ways to access this. And there are wiser ways to heal too. So tonight we're going to be talking about healing from trauma. And I'm very happy to welcome to the stage my good woman. I'm really pleased to be able to call my friend, Linda EagleSpeaker. Hi, Linda.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for being here. Linda and I go back a few years, actually. And so she is a ceremonial elder at the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center in Minneapolis. And more than that, she has a long-standing history of being, I believe it's a seventh generation herbalist. So tell us a little bit about that, Linda.
That's on my mom's Blackfoot side. I'm actually both. I'm a member of the Blackfoot people in southern Alberta in Canada and a member of the Blackfeet tribe in Montana. Those are my mom's people.
Mhm.
So my mom's people, I'm seventh generation, and the way they would describe us, if you translate it, we are ceremonial herbalists. And what that means is that if anyone is preparing a ceremony, whether it's a woman's ceremony, men's ceremonies, or community ceremonies, they might need certain medicines. They might need certain sages or powders or oils or whatever they might need for that ceremony. So they usually send a young person. We call them runners. The runner will come to us and they'll offer us tobacco, and they'll let you know what the elder's request is, or the ceremonialist, or the medicine person request is. And I, in turn, what I will do is I will listen intently to the young person, and then I'll let them know how long it's going to take to prepare those medicines, to get them ready. Could be 3-4 days, usually at the max. And I let them know that this is the time and the date, and I will be here for you to come and pick it up.
Mm.
So with ceremonial herbalists, that just means that are herbs that are just specifically used for ceremonies, and there's about 150
Wow.
different ceremonial herbs. Mm-hmm.
Linda, I forgot. I actually forgive me. If I were in person, I would give you this bundle of sage and a little bit of tobacco for being with us, and I'll get it to your center in addition to a contribution to the center.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. I really honor you being here. The other thing that I want to honor as well is the land. And I know I asked you if that would be appropriate, and you said
Mm-hmm.
yes, it would. So, what I really like to do is to really honor the fact that all of us, particularly in the Americas, are we are living on land that was Native people. And so I just would like to take a moment and just have people just acknowledge that. And if you know the tribe whose land you sit on, so for example, I know that it would sit on Ojibwe land. I also give gratitude for the land that I was raised on in Minnesota, which was Dakota land. And my father farmed it, and I was lucky enough that we were able to get it. And so I just would like to maybe just take a couple breaths if that feels comfortable for people, and just honor that. Hmm, thank you. So tell us a little bit about what you do at the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. I know that its mission is to really lift up Indian women, but tell us more.
Mm. Wow. Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center is going way past our 30th year now. Um, I would have to say it began many, many years ago with just 4 people, um, 3 women and a man,
Mhm.
all Indigenous. And at that time, there were very, very few services at all, especially for Indian women and children and their families. So they put their pool, their money together, and then they were really, really strong and courageous and managed to work through and get a place. And wow, and all these years later, MIWC is still in existence. But right now, we've got so many, many programs at our agency that are all geared around, specifically around families.
Mm-hmm.
So if let's say a young woman walks in and she has two children. Maybe she's having some issues with child protection. Maybe she's having issues with housing. You know, she's been homeless for a long time. Maybe she's really, really hungry. Maybe she needs clothing or shoes for her children. She just needs a place to rest, to be
Yeah.
welcome. So if she enters our door, she's going to have complete wraparound services from the moment that she walks in.
Mm.
So we are going to give her trauma informed services. So we're going to meet her just exactly where she's at. We're not going to judge her from where she came from, or, you know, what is her education? What is her chemical dependency? What kind of mental health does she have? No, we don't do that. The moment that she walks in the door, she's home,
Mm.
and she's looking for a place to call home because she's so lost. You know, she's a single mother raising all of her kids by herself. So when you walk in that door, those services begin immediately for you, and you receive a case manager. We work on all of those different parts. There's so many case managers that this young woman is going to be working with at different levels throughout her whole process. And that would be anywhere from 3 to 4, depending upon what she's actually looking for.
Mm.
So I think the resource center is really, really changing. It's dynamic right now. Um, we are now we're working with the homeless population a little bit more closely.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently opened a drop-in center for our American Indian women. So anyone can come to the drop-in center between the hours of 9 and 1. And we're talking about women that have really, really, really hard lives.
Yes.
We're talking about women that are not welcome at a lot of other places. And we're talking about women that are working the streets, that are surviving, and a lot of that. So again, too, it comes back to that trauma-informed care.
Mm-hmm.
When she comes to our door that in that morning, we welcome her. We follow all the COVID requirements that we have to do with masks and gloves and all of that stuff. But the most important thing is that she made it there on
Yeah.
her own. And we honor her for that. We honor her for the fact that you did come here and you wanted services, and we're going to do everything we can to help you. It's been that just for me 15 years of that same thinking, that same way of welcoming our women and just surrounding them like family with all of our services, with wraparound services from beginning to end. And we see that success, and we see them move on from our housing. We move on in education, and wow, if they can get that base to begin with, especially when they're really lost,
Yeah.
we can do wonders.
I can feel that acceptance in what you're talking about. And I know that you've told me how welcome women in and maybe make a cup of tea or burn some sage I can just feel it,
Mm-hmm.
sitting here with you, that welcoming presence. And they may not have gotten that, is what you're saying.
Oh no. Like a
Yeah.
lot of our women were cross-trained. We're cross-trained because the violence, the sexual assault, and the domestic violence runs hand in hand in our communities. And so
Yes.
most of our advocates here are cross-trained in both domestic and sexual assault. Um, and so when they come in here, we can do wraparound services for both of them. So when you're talking about, I see the women that are 50 and over,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really, really hard, very hard. And everyone knows, and anywhere across the United States or even for Canada, it's really hard for our American Indian women to admit that something has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
They carry a great deal of shame, and they blame themselves. Sometimes they stay in those relationships for a long time, and sometimes they're very violent because they feel that they need to for their children.
Yes.
But that takes education. It takes education. It takes honoring them as a human being first when they first arrive, and teaching them. Wow, they're just incredible. I can just name all of them that have come through my office. So if the elders, if the receptionist calls down, I ask just, how is she?
Mm-hmm.
This one you need to see, Linda. And she comes down, and I welcome her, and I begin by lowering the lights, but asking permission if I could lower the fluorescence. And then I just go into this deep, soft belly breathing just to get her really, really comfortable. And I ask her to close her eyes. I ask her to relax, using that voice and that tone that I've been taught and practiced so many times from mind body medicine.
Right.
Right. Bringing her into that complete relaxed state. After a few moments, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, we're back. And it's just remarkable. Well, they've never experienced that before. That feeling of just that momentary feeling of safe. I feel so good here. I feel so good with your voice. And then I ask them, would you like to have a nice cup of tea?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you like to drink some uhki? Water.
Okay.
Water. And then we go into our lessons.
Mm.
You know, and I could look at the woman, and even sometimes they'll come with their daughters, and I can look at them, and I know that there's huge hurt there. There's great pain there. So I think just feeling it, and being able to feel that through just healing practices,
Right.
and not having to ask, like, what happened, give me all the details. You can see that in their eyes. You can feel it in their spirits, and you can see that the way their shoulders are way down low, and they shrink forward, and they want, almost like they want to hide here in their heart center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so glorious and beautiful to be able to work with her for a while, and you're not going to get that smile the first time around, but when she comes back to see you and she greets you and she smiles, you've tapped into that beautiful spirit of hers. Wow, I love this job.
That's tremendous.
Oh yeah.
And you mentioned, and greetings to Dr. Tanya, by the way, and Diane Rogers expresses gratitude to the Seminoles. Carol and DM are watching, Dr. Carol, Thaddeus. Well, Linda, you mentioned we met through Mind Body Medicine. That fateful day when I ended up meeting Donna LaChapelle, who we should have dragged on here too, but we didn't. Maybe another time. And it's been really an honor to, share not only like the belly breathing that you've mentioned, but also to hear your wisdom as well. And so can you say a little bit how it blends, how, mind body medicine, and we are colleagues at the Center for Mind Body Medicine. Both Linda and I are faculty for the Center for Mind Body Medicine, both in U.S. programs, and also, I'm at Minneapolis recently. We did a training online. Woohoo! Us old dogs can learn new tricks. But we've also traveled together to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Actually, I remember you and I and Donna, maybe somebody else, were driving through South Dakota and went into the Badlands, and you would say, "Oh, these herbs are calling to me. I can hear this one say, 'Pick me, pick me.'" And then Donna LaChapelle, who was also an elder, and we were walking, and you would spy buffalo, like called the buffalo. I looked up and I saw a buffalo on the hill, and I said, "Oh, there's a buffalo." And I went to take a picture of it, and it disappeared just like that. It was gone. That was a magical trip. A magical trip.
Oh, beautiful memories, eh?
Indeed.
You hold on to those golden moments.
Indeed.
Yeah, I remember that morning, and I remember that day. Just so many animals were coming out.
They were.
Come out to play.
Mm-hmm.
Come out and see us. Come out and visit. We're okay. We're friendly.
Right.
Kathy, this is Donna. Say hi to Donna. I think we had all kinds of ground squirrels and everything else coming out.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We could tell another story too, but I don't know if we should, about accidentally ending up at the Sturgis bike rally.
Oh my.
We had done a training in Pine Ridge, and Linda and Donna wanted to go to Bear Butte, and unbeknownst to us, we were driving through Sturgis and during the bike rally, and we definitely saw some sights we weren't expecting on our way to you doing ceremony on Bear Butte. Hi, Cynthia. Cynthia Newholy is greeting us from Pine Ridge. So I'm sorry, I lost track in the storytelling.
No, that was a glorious visit. Just reminds me of COVID now, you
Yeah.
know. But it was we just finished our training down there in Pine Ridge, and it was just an opportunity for us to, my sister, she always wants to end. She always wants to go to Bear Butte.
Mhm.
And I was teasing her that morning. I said, "You do know that Sturgis is on, don't you?" Oh, that's their business. I said, okay.
Yep, we drove through Sturgis.
Okay.
And,
So we went through Sturgis. It was quite exciting coming through that town, and
yeah, it
quite a
was.
few sights that we shouldn't have seen, but
Indeed.
we couldn't do anything. You were driving, I believe, and the rest of us, some of us were like,
It was hilarious.
glorious memory.
Hmm. It was definitely the juxtaposition of two worlds. So Sturgis Bike Rally and then going on to Bear Butte where you did ceremony. I mean,
Oh,
what a lucky woman
beautiful.
am I to be part of
Oh,
that.
yeah. The tobacco ceremony, and we left four direction ties that were there and prayer ties. And
Yes,
we've been there a few times. So beautiful opportunity. That might have some beautiful memories of Pine Ridge and being
indeed.
beautiful people.
Indeed.
Beautiful people.
I got off topic a little bit, but any topic is on topic. We talked about, and you've taught many times about the Four Directions teachings. Would you mind sharing that?
Well, what I can tell you is from a Blackfeet and
Mhm.
Blackfoot Confederacy perspective. I can tell you from a traditionalist perspective. Um, I was raised as a traditionalist in my family, um, pretty rather really strictly.
Mhm.
Um, but being as a traditionalist, I wish I had my cloths here, but I don't. Um, Raised as traditionalists, we're raised to believe that and understand that all cultures in the world are equal to each other. That no culture is greater than the other culture.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, and they're symbolized by different colors of cloth.
Mhm.
So um, if I have yellow cloth, that beautiful yellow cloth represents all the Oriental, the Asian cultures, the Hmongs, the Vietnamese, the beautiful cultures all over. The ones that are over there in the Pacific Islands and all of that area. Beautiful, beautiful people. So if I take that same and I have red color, then that symbolizes all indigenous cultures of the world. Just not only the Americas. There's
Mhm.
so many indigenous cultures in so many countries. Sami people that are way over there, way in South America, even deeper down there. And if you take the color black, and that represents all of the black cultures of the whole world. Again, not just the US, everywhere. And then we end up with the white color. And white color represents all the European cultures that arrived here or that live across the big water, the big pond they call it. Eh?
Hey.
But when you blend those cultures together, when we it's we're in that time right now that we're being divided greatly. We're being so divided right now that some cultures are thinking that they're greater than the other in their words and their deeds and the way that they treat their people and their countries. And that includes us as well. And how we treat each other. When we say, Ayuna pinato si, spumakanan is tabat pisinosin, nisto natuikanaki. When I ask Creator, Grandfather's Son, not si, to shine down not only on me,
Mhm.
but on my sister Kathy and my sister Donna, all of my people, all of my relatives, everyone from the four directions. I can't not ask not those just to shine on me. No, the sun is not choosy. It shines down on all of us.
Indeed.
And we need to, as a people, We need to understand, but first, that we are human beings.
Right.
Human beings first. And we are here in borrowed skin for a short time. Our lives here are very short. You know, may live 60, 78, but in lifetime, very short time. So I will tell you that my father, my father's greatest wish as a medicine person, as a sweat lodge owner, going into the Horn Society sweat lodges, his dream was to always, one day, it's going to happen naturally.
Mm.
And all four cultures are going to come into my sweat lodge.
Mm.
He lived his whole life and only saw three of those cultures come in naturally.
Mm.
But most of your medicine people, they dream about that. And you can't just, call up Mr. Miyamoto, I'm having a sweat, can you make it over here?
It'll come.
It doesn't happen like that. It has to happen naturally,
Naturally.
like all things. And
Mhm.
so we believe deeply in that, and we teach our children that also too. And I can say in the generation of my children right now, and so proud that my grandchildren don't see color,
Mm.
they don't see race, they don't see gender, they just see you as a human being. And when a little child can ask that question when he hears that word, and it was so interesting. My little grandson Shiloh, he's going to be 5. He was listening to his mom, and they were talking about all COVID and everything else, and they were talking about racism and kind of forgetting about that he's there.
Yes.
And he got up and he walked over to his mom and her friend, and they were drinking tea. And he just asked her, what is that?
Mhm.
What is that hatred? What is hate?
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where we want to bring ourselves to, Kathy.
Right.
We want to bring ourselves to that point when our children don't know what that word is.
Yeah.
They don't know the differences.
Mhm.
And we are going to get there. But we have to be
We're gonna
patient.
try.
We're going to try.
Yes.
I'm 65 years old, and I'm seeing it in the last 5, 10, about last 6 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Yeah. So I know that the shall I call it the racial strife, the riots, the protests really impacted your Minneapolis community. You know, the Minneapolis Indian Women's Resource Center. Can you say a little bit about that?
Wow, for those of you that are not from Minneapolis, I think after the killing of an innocent man, um, it's something that it was brought to my attention, and to this day, I wished I'd never watched that video of
Yeah.
that happening to that man. It stays with me as a mother and as a grandmother.
Mhm.
Um, I think it touched so many women deeply, um, and it still stays with me to this day. And all you can do is just really, really pray. When that was happening, I knew that, help him, take him, don't let him suffer like that. So I think after that, our whole world just erupted in one night. It was
Mhm.
explosive in the cities. It was so scary, and not only just at that time, it was the South Minneapolis area.
Mhm.
That area, that first few nights, it was just explosive and so scary. There were so many people that were trying to protect their children, and yet their children wanted to go there. They wanted to take part in all of that. And just sitting back as an elder and sitting here with my husband in our home in Golden Valley, we felt safe.
Mhm.
But I started watching my community get to the point where even our agency, there were there was so much rioting, and there's so much fires, and there was no,
Right.
you wouldn't know that your house is even going to be safe or your business is going to be safe. And so they started coming around, and they started boarding up all of our places in Phillips. It got so bad that first few nights in the city that if you called for police help just for yourself for something that might be happening to you in your own home, the response time is anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours. And it came down to like, is it really, really an emergency?
Right.
And when our city got like that, when we couldn't depend on those that were there to protect us because they're so busy trying to put out fires or trying to protect themselves, was just
Right.
um, for our whole neighborhood when they woke up that next morning and everything was gone. The Target that they so depended on, the
Right.
Cub Foods, the even local different businesses that are right there, the police station, everything was just in cinders. People were walking around just, and our work is what we ended up doing was we're making sure that we get a hold of our clients. Are you okay? Are you all right? That
Right.
was our biggest concern that next morning, getting a hold of the women that I work with. Are you okay? And then it became day after that, it just became this huge, where do we get our food?
Yeah.
They became helpless. Our clients were already at that point of a lot of chemical dependency and layers of mental health and already really, really scared as life even began before that. But after that happened, it was a matter of like, can we find them?
Right.
That's how it became so dysfunctional. We didn't know where they were. We didn't know which agencies were open, and until everything kind of got coordinated by they call them the Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors. Um, they all meet together. They all represent each agency. But we finally shortly began to realize that there was no food.
Mm.
So you couldn't go to the grocery store and get anything
Right.
for your family. So we kind of rallied together and as workers, and we started making sure that okay, we have accounts that are at Gov, and we can't get there. We have accounts at Target, and we can't get there. Different places like that. So how do you deal with a business that's been disrupted and torn down, and there's nobody in there, and so that during that first week of trying to get confused, but Target was incredible with us after a while and setting up other accounts at other places. Um, I think just really, really trying to figure out where their place was right now. Like, how safe are you? Are your windows broken? Are your doors broken? Do you feel safe being in your home?
Right.
A lot of elders. So a lot of our people came down from up north and south too, and they picked up their elders and they took them out of the city just to be safer. So I think that first week was just really, really trying to get them food and comfort, and just letting them know that they're not alone.
Yes.
We were right in the fire zone, so our biggest issue is that we've got 14 apartments with women and children and families up there. Like,
Right.
what do we do? What if they firebomb our building like other buildings have been?
Right.
How do we get are we going to be safe? Are we going to get them out? So yeah, that first week, I think since then we're still under COVID.
hmm
Um,
All the COVID precautions.
very much so. So like tomorrow morning, for example, I haven't been in the building since March.
Yeah.
So tomorrow morning, I'm only allowed to go in with my program on a Friday, but I have to have permission from our COVID team. So I have to show up there with a mask and gloves, um, and we follow protocol. There's somebody meet me at the door
You're
every day.
valuable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they'll even give me a cleaning kit that I have to take with me to my office.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then when I'm done, I'm timed. So I know that I'm only there a certain time. Then I have to come back out. I have to exchange. Um, what I bring into the building, I can only bring in myself and what I'm wearing. My
hmm
mask will be taken away. My gloves will be taken away. I'll be have sanitized and then new gloves, and then they'll do the same thing when I'm going out, so that I have new gloves going outside. So really, really, really long precautions, and it will be like that at MAWRC. So we're just kind of exploring: are we going to do groups with other
Right.
agencies? Are we going to do online groups? But you know, when it comes down to what's happening in our community right now, we really comes down to a lot of fundraising. Really,
Mhm.
our grants are not equipped to pay for iPhones.
Yeah.
You know, they're not equipped to pay for laptops.
Mhm.
So it's just the population that are there. They can't afford. Their children
Right.
have. We might luck out, and one of their children might have a school laptop. Um, so that's what's really, really going on in Phillips right now about not being able. A lot of our agencies can't run programs online
Mhm.
only because of the technology. We just don't have it. We like our agency alone. We might need 50 to 100 tablets, and that's just MIWRC. You've
Mhm.
got the Indian Center, you've got DIW, you've got NAC, you've got.
Mhm.
So right now they've just kind of put that on the back burner for now, and just protecting our staff, protecting our buildings, going into do what we're doing. Yeah, that's where
You
we're
know,
at.
Linda, as you were going through all that, I just, had the memories of those nights, and of course, working at Children's and
Mm.
children's, getting boarded up and being guarded by the National Guard and such. But I just found myself, going back to that belly breathing that you and I know so well from the Center for Mind Body Medicine. I just found myself just sort of breathing as we relive that together. Um, yeah, in a community that was already really ravaged. You
Oh
know?
my gosh, it's
Mhm.
become a food desert,
Yeah.
literally.
We've
It
talked
literally.
about that. It's interesting that you mentioned, because that is part of the trauma that, we're talking about healing trauma tonight. And there's certainly the fact that getting clean water and good food is not a basic right. And certainly not when we first met and we talked about, and I was mentoring you as you were doing mind body groups. And, we came to the lesson on how do you teach about nutrition when people, oftentimes a slide is put up, don't buy your food where you buy your gas. Well, what if you have no choice but to buy your food where you buy your gas? And we talked about that. And I've just been so impressed with how you took, basic nutritional guidance to heart yourself, and started drinking more water
Mm.
and drinking less soda, right?
Oh
And then
yes.
tell our audience other things that you did and what you've been able to accomplish by making those choices in a food desert.
Oh my gosh. I think for me, wow, we're going into. Oh, it's been 5 years since when I first started doing the training, started going in, and I was really, really, really heavy at that time. Um, I was a sacred training program director and running 5 programs, so I didn't have any time for anything. I didn't have time for my family, my husband, my home. Um, Operating with 6 grants and trying to keep them going, and all the staff that was there, and it was just one of those things that wow, it just became to that point that literally the way that I would comfort myself is with food,
Mm-hmm.
literally with food.
Yeah.
I found myself stopping off in the morning to get donuts, and at that time I drank Pepsi. I drank the large Pepsis.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I'd drive to work and I'd be eating donuts and shooting down these Pepsis, and I'd walk into MIWRC with 2 or 3 Pepsis, and I put them in my little fridge and just continue working all day long and just really, really grinding and just okay, I'm gonna run off. I'm gonna go to McDonald's, or I'm gonna go to Burger King, or I want to go somewhere. And um, wow, that just had to completely change. And I think it's that first time I was ever introduced to food as medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that really, really changed everything for me. And that power of okay, water,
Water. Say
and
it again
yeah,
in
and
your
and bring
language.
it, yeah, bring it back to when in our Blackfoots we say okay, it's
Oh,
like water, life giving water. And so what I did is I wanted to make sure that okay, I'm going to incorporate trainings and teachings into what that water means to us as human beings. So you know, letting the ladies and teaching them that try to yeah I have a cup right here and it's full of water. I drink water all day.
Yes.
Um,
No more
I
pepsi.
even changed physicians after being with Mind Body Medicine for about a year. I wasn't satisfied with my physician. I think I might have even talked to you about that a couple of
Mhm,
times.
mhm,
She just seems to be giving me more. I go in and she just gives me another, wants me to be on painkillers. And I
mhm.
said, what am I going to do with these 30 tablets?
Yeah.
I don't handle them at all. So, and by luck, she actually retired from Park Nicollet.
And you got a different physician.
I researched for her, and I found a natural, more of a naturopath, Dr. Lydia Vang, and she's at Park Nicollet.
Mhm,
Incredible doctor. Never judging me. I just love the way that she works with me. Um, and then I love the way that she weaned me off of pop.
mhm,
She said, "I want you to bring in your size pop that you like." And she's, "No, go ahead, just take a sip." And I was sipping away, and she put it down right here, and then it gradually she got me down to a smaller and smaller. I want you to try a smaller one. I want you to try it. And then it finally got me down to the little tiny cans that I couldn't find except at a store. And then a whole month after I was done drinking pop, I came back just drinking water. And then I came back and she gave me a little can of Pepsi. And then she opened it very casually and she handed it to me and enjoy. I couldn't drink it.
mm.
It was like syrup. It
Right,
was thick and
right.
yeah. I haven't drank pop for oh my years, at least 4.5 years. I don't even use meals or anything like that.
Mhm.
Just straight water, ice. I drink a lot of ice water.
Are you still doing your, like, is it once a month donut or something?
Yeah, glam doll donuts.
Just once, right?
Just
And you
once.
mindfully eat your donut.
Yeah, I go there and there's a place in Minneapolis called Glam Doll Donuts. Oh wow, you walk in there and you're in donut heaven. And they know me there.
Mhm.
She said, "Don't bother. She's not gonna buy anything. No, she don't even want coffee. Bring her some water."
Oh, so you don't even eat the donuts, you just go and
No,
have
no, I
coffee.
just
That's
stand there and I
cute.
stare them down, eh? They're all in those cases, and I just stare at them. I look at them, and my most favorite one is that, um, oh, it's like a maple bar with a bacon on the top. Oh,
Mhm.
how dare they do that to me, eh? I get one for Rocky because he can eat
Here?
anything. He's one of those people. This
Yeah,
metabolism is,
yes.
you can eat a whole chocolate cake.
And you actually, I know you talk about it publicly, what really happened for your health by making those changes. I mean, I feel like you reversed, we talk about, the genes of diabetes and the genes of high blood pressure and things, and we certainly see that, really strongly in Indian communities, American and Canadian Indian communities. And I feel like you changed your genes, your epigenetics by those choices. You
Oh
lost
yeah,
weight.
oh yeah. Because remember, Kathy, when I first met you,
Yeah.
hey, wow, I was telling you, I was asking you advice about the amount of metformin that I was even getting.
Mhm.
And then the Crestor that was on top of that, the Lipitor, all of that other medication, and it just seemed to be more and more and more and more. And wow, it was just getting to the point where my body was just physically feeling it. And um, I notice now that I can tell that if I'm putting on even just the slightest amount of weight,
Mhm.
because my knees feel will remind me right away.
Right.
Okay, we're putting on an extra pound there, so let's do a little bit more exercise. I'm gonna let you know. So, but it wasn't one of those. It was very healthy. It was a
Right.
long process.
Yeah.
It took me almost a year and a half to gradually wean myself off of candy, pop,
Mhm.
cake,
Mhm.
all of those things that I don't need in my life,
Yeah.
adding things that I do need, like fruits and vegetables, and making juices, and
Mhm.
eating things I didn't eat before, like different types of cheeses, and really enjoying my different foods, and then cooking more and making. Now I make all my own desserts. I know exactly what goes into them. I make all my own juices. I do all my own flavorings. I dry all my herbs. I dry all my vegetables now. So I do a lot of canning. So I'm going back to that.
Hmm.
At a good weight right now, and I feel pretty good. Feel
Yeah.
healthy. Feel strong. Mm.
You had to get a different wardrobe, right?
Pardon?
You had to get a different wardrobe. Your
Oh yeah,
ceremonial dresses. Hmm.
yeah. That's the downfall. Hey, the downfall is that outfit. You
Yeah.
always try to keep a couple of pants. You think, I might just balloon back up again. And
Oh
the other
no.
day I was washing my clothes and I had these two pairs of pants. I really love them, but they're like enough for two people now. So,
Yeah.
no, I'm not
Amazing.
going to keep them. No,
Yeah.
they're going
Amazing.
to go. They're going to go in the rag bag.
There you go. Where
Hmm.
they belong.
Oh yeah.
And we know that whole, like you said, you were drowning your stress with food, and that's what happens. Even this, the trauma of that kind of stress, the stress of job, or the stress of trying to help people, you
Because
know.
were you, when I sit back and think about those years, like
Hmm.
when I was drowning myself in food and drowning myself in all of those things, was I really, really helping them?
Mm.
Was
Yeah.
I giving them that 50-50% where we need to meet each other in order to accomplish good things, eh?
Mm. Good
But
question.
now I immediately know when a woman will call. I have a new lady that just getting ready to come in. Um, we're quite excited to meet each other.
Hmm.
Uh, we've met each other just by voice only.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it's gonna be a good relationship. She's in her mid 50s. Um, so I'm really looking forward to meeting her next week, and we're gonna start doing some zooming here.
Here we are.
We're gonna start doing some zooming, so she'll have that capability of coming in on Zoom and seeing each other and meeting each other again. So I think immediately that connection.
Yes.
Mind is clearer. My body is healthier. I'm much stronger.
You look great.
I've never been one for alcohol or drugs or anything like that.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
mother's took care of that, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And my mom. I was never raised around any of that.
Hmm.
I wasn't raised around alcohol or any kind of hard drugs that I'm dealing with right now.
Hmm.
I had to learn that education of the hard drugs just by being in my work and doing the training as a social worker.
Hmm.
It's incredible
Hmm.
the amount that a human being can actually suffer. And that's what's going on right now in our city.
Yes.
We have so many. We have so many of our population from the four directions, all different cultures. Now in the city we have a homeless camp for the African American people.
Okay.
And we have a homeless camp for the white people. We have a homeless camp for the indigenous people, and now we have a homeless camp for women. And should there be a Hispanic camp? And
Mm.
you know, really,
Yeah.
I just think about that. I've been asked and asked to again to come into this. There's a um, homeless camp of indigenous women.
Hmm.
But Kathy, the bottom line on that one is always comes down to chemical dependency.
Yeah.
You know, we always try to whitewash it with that word homeless.
Hmm.
They are homeless.
Hmm.
They're very pitiful homeless people. They are just mere shadows of themselves. They're if you do a medeval on them, you might get alcohol, a little marijuana, but you're gonna get heroin.
Hmm.
She might test positive for heroin. She might test positive for meth,
Yeah.
and doing that intravenously. She might be smoking meth, and at the same time, you might test positive for opiates.
Hmm.
And then you sit there and wonder, like, this poor thing, like, how are you even walking around?
Right.
And then it comes down to that point of like how my body craves those drugs every single morning that I wake up.
Mm.
So then it comes down to like, how do I get enough money to get everything that my body craves?
Yeah.
And we know what that comes to.
Right.
So right now, these homeless camps that are there, they're homeless people, but highly addicted,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of different things. Highly addicted. Wow.
Yeah. So how, and by the way, Gloriana Underbaggage from Pine Ridge says hello. Keep up the efforts.
Ah.
And Selma Troca also says hello. Beautiful women. So wonderful to hear and see you both. I think she was on our Sturgis adventure, wasn't she, with us?
No.
I think.
Thanks.
So Linda, when you're dealing with all of that and hearing the stories, and I know that, I keep thinking when you say homeless, it's hard for me not to even transpose the word hopeless, and hope. But how do you take care of yourself in the face of all that?
Well, what I've learned over all the years, and as I age, is that morning, that twilight morning of when you're 4 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm,
and you sit up on the edge of your bed and you feel people, and you feel those requests and those prayers coming in from all different directions, and so you get up, and I always sit on the edge of my bed, and I do about 10 deep breaths just to ground myself and get myself ready. Then I get up. For my first hour, I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to think about all the things that I experienced in the previous time, the previous day. I think about all the things I need to do today, and I think about
mhm,
all the women and the men and the children and providers that have come just to ask for prayers. And then after that, I light a smudge.
mhm,
I light a smudge, and I smudge all in the four directions. And in our prayers, we face that east, and we face the west, and we face the south, and we face the north. And we're doing this when we're outside. So that first hour is inside, and the second hour is outside, because the not Dulce is coming. They're here. The spirits are arriving, and they're here to greet you. So you
mhm,
need to stand there, and as that sun is coming up, then you greet them. And you
mhm,
think about all those people and all their sorrows and everything that they've left with you, and you ask that the Creator take it, and they cannot handle it.
mhm,
Bless them today, that they have a good day, and bless their children and their old people. Bless their tribe, their community, people that are close to them. Bless all those that are trying to help them also too. I think that for me, that self care begins in the morning. And it
mhm.
begins about 4 o'clock till about 6. Then it's coffee time. And then it's, oh, my doctor knows if I drink more than 2 coffees. So I drink
You
two
feel good
coffees.
the rest of the day.
Oh, I feel very good.
Mhm,
The rest of the day, I just drink water. Now that I've been remote for quite some time, um, but I stick to my routine,
mhm,
just as I would, getting up in the morning, getting things done, getting my coffee at 6, being with my husband from 6 to 7, taking care of myself and getting myself ready, and then just having my little office here and checking in.
mhm.
That's really
You've
important.
transitioned to the online world too, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Us, us old folks doing that.
Oh my gosh, we survived that.
We did. And here we
Oh,
are.
yeah, here we are. It was a beautiful conference.
Mhm.
It's really first of its kind for
That's true.
center
What she's
mind body
referring to is the
medicine.
Center Mind Body Medicine online training that we did a few weeks ago.
Amazing.
Training. It was supposed to be held right in Minneapolis, but with COVID, etc., we put it online and it worked.
Mm.
It worked. We got to meet a lot of amazing people and having people, tune in not just from Minneapolis, but from all over the country and even Somalia and Italy and really all over the world. And that would not have happened. One of the gifts of COVID, I guess I would say. Hmm.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful process.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Hmm. Linda, I know one of the things that I don't know if this would be, I almost hesitate to bring it up. I'm just going to ask you anything else that you want people to know, either about any of the work that you do or any of the healing that you do. for yourself and for others?
Mm. I think for I've always followed the lessons of my mother, who lived to be over 100 years old, Leona EagleSpeaker,
Leona.
and always moving slow, moving gracefully,
Mm,
and not expending my energy, because and always having that teaching in that I have only so many moments in my day. And what I've learned from my mother is that um, yesterday is over there,
mm,
gone. And no matter how hard we try, we cannot change that.
yes.
It's not possible. And just as it is, like, to go into uppy knuckles, to go into tomorrow,
Mm,
as hard as we try, we can plan and we can write and we can do everything, but we cannot go there.
mhm,
The only time and the only place that I can use my strength is from the time that and using my gifts of eyesight and
mhm,
of touch and feeling, and all my gifts I receive every morning.
mm,
So as an elder, what I've learned from my mother is living in the moment, because that's all that we have. From the moment that I wake up in the morning and my eyes realize that I'm here, that the Creator let me wake up, I did good. To them, the Creator, my grandparents that are up there, they realize that she did good work, really good work. Let's wake her up again. Give her all her gifts that she can go out and she can help her people.
yes.
And then when I do that, I give thanks for sit on the edge of my bed and I give thanks for all the gifts that I have. Even my physical self and my emotional
Mhm,
self. And then I
mhm,
do my deep breathing and I sit there. I can listen to my husband breathing as he's sleeping. And I know that's all that I have. From the moment my eyes open and I go about my whole day to the end of the day when my eyes close. And one thing that my mother always taught me, I cannot change another human being.
mm,
No matter how hard I try, with all of my gifts, voice, everything, we cannot change another human being.
it's true.
Mm-mm. The only one that we can change is Nistoa,
Mhm,
myself,
mm,
ourselves.
right.
That is the only power and strength that we have. And I can only change myself during that time when I'm here to there. And so learning in that short period of time, really, is that 8 hours of your day that you're up, maybe 9, maybe 10 if you stretch it.
Right.
Wow.
If you're getting up at 4.
Oh, what amazing work you can do in that time frame.
Right.
Right? And how many human beings you can touch. And so for me, learning those things and meeting you, Kathy, I've been able to expand that. I've been able to guide myself in my strength and my energy and know that I have so much for myself, but I have so much more that I can actually share.
Yeah.
I won't give you all, but I'll give you a portion that you need.
Such wisdom.
And I'll be here for you.
Mhm,
Wow, that was an incredible, incredible mother of mine.
indeed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's really, Linda, like mindfulness, being present in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
from this 100-year-old woman.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was
That really
meditating.
is
She wouldn't
wiser.
even, she would sit in her chair outside with her tea,
Hmm.
and she would listen to the birds, but she wouldn't be sleeping.
Yeah.
In her own way, she was meditating,
Yes.
breathing deeply, and she loved soft belly.
Hmm.
She loved soft belly. She loved to breathe. She had COPD.
Did she?
Yeah,
Okay.
she had COPD, but it helped her. it helped her to, even when she had a little puffer and stuff.
Mhm.
It really, really helped her a lot. And I'm
Mm.
glad I was able to. She loved my adventures when I talked about the center and wherever I'm going. Where are you at now? Where are you
Right,
going?
right.
Yeah, it's a good.
Wow. Linda,
Mm-hmm.
an hour is almost gone.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that something?
I know.
And I feel like we've been able to catch up a little bit with
I
over
think
our
so.
water.
I know. I think so.
Yeah. So thank you so much
You're welcome.
for being here and for all that you do and all that you are. And you have such wisdom, and your mother has such wisdom, and you're just passing it on, passing it
Mm-hmm.
through. And your community in Minneapolis, your community in Canada is so lucky. We're so lucky. The CMBM community is so lucky to have you. And so I do want to just offer that I do plan on making a donation, like I said, to the Minnesota
Okay.
Indian Women's Resource Center. If anyone else wanted to, I'm assuming they would go to the website.
Oh yeah. Go onto the website.
Mhm,
We have there's donations on there also too under www.miwrc.org. We have a
mhm,
beautiful website right now. Yeah.
mhm. Great. And what specific programs do you run there? Are there specific ones?
Pardon?
Is there a specific program that you run, Linda?
Oh, I'm going into a new role.
Oh, okay.
I'm going into a beautiful role of mentorship,
Okay, great.
and so it's a different grant.
Mhm,
I'm going into that role where I'm going to be mentoring a young lady by the name of Sheila Jaffer, uh,
okay,
Lakota, actually from Pine
nice,
Ridge.
nice.
She has two daughters, so I was
Mhm.
given a chance to select somebody that I would be able to teach about medicines.
Oh, that's great.
And so we have another young lady, very, very young. Her name is Umbaje. So
Mhm,
Umbaje is Ojibwe. Um, so she was a survivor of the streets, sold as a child,
mhm,
rescued as a child, um, but she lucked out and she was sent to her grandmother. And
mm,
her grandmother had a neighbor that was an herbalist. And
mhm,
so that's where Mbaji got all that experience about medicines.
mm.
Incredible, incredible women. And that's what we do as elders. That's our next step.
Yes, that's true.
We just don't keep all of this in
Right.
put it
Yes,
away.
keep
No.
passing it along.
So that mentorship has started immediately with
Great,
both of these young ladies. So looking
great.
forward to that. Yeah.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, once again, thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
on, and hopefully we can do this again,
Oh,
and
I'd love to.
maybe next time in
Love to.
person, right?
Let me know.
All righty.
Let me know.
So
All right.
yeah,
Love you, Kathy.
I
Mm-hmm.
love you too. So thank you all for joining in. If I didn't get a chance to say hello to you, know that I meant to. And again, if you're interested in making a donation to Linda's agency, it's the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. I plan on doing more of these. Next Thursday night, I'm going to have Dr. Carol Penn on, and we're going to talk about natural ways to boost our immune system in this time of COVID. And guess what? The flu season is coming. And so stay tuned. You can like me, obviously, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I also have a YouTube channel. I'm gradually getting a few things up there. And this has been just an honor. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening and be well and remember those teachings. Thank you.